upon a time. Everybody. Once upon a time. There was a boy called Jack, and his mother said, Jack, you're no good. You're lazy, you're useless, you do no work. Jack, go and find a job. Do you know what she did? In the morning, she kicked Jack out of the house. Jack, he went and he found a job with a builder. And all day long, Jack was building a wall. And at the end of the day, Jack had built a beautiful wall. And the builder was very pleased, and he gave Jack a penny. And Jack took this penny, and as he walked home, he tossed the coin, and he caught it. He tossed the coin, and he caught it. And he walked over the bridge, and he tossed the coin, and the coin fell in the water. And he went home, and he told his mother, and she said, you foolish boy! Next time, put it in your pocket. Well, the next morning, she kicked Jack out of the house, and Jack, he went and he worked for the milk farmer, the dairy farm, and all day long Jack had to milk the cows. Do you know how to milk a cow? Yeah. Or milk a yak, perhaps? So show me how you milk a cow. All day long, and he a lot of milk. And at the end of the day, the dairy farmer was very pleased, and he gave Jack a jug of fresh and creamy milk. Jack, he remembered his mother's words. Next time, put it in your pocket. So Jack, he took that jug of milk, and he poured it, and then he walked home. And when he got home, his mother saw it, he said, oh, you foolish boy! Next time, carry it on your head. So the next morning, she kicked everybody. She kicked Jack out. Everybody. She kicked Jack out of the house. Can you say that with me? She kicked Jack out of the house. Jack, he went and he worked for the cheese maker. And all day long, Jack was making cheese. Can you make cheese? And at the end of the day, Jack had done so well, the cheesemaker gave Jack a... And he remembered his mother's words. What was it?
Keep it in your head.
Next time, carry it on your head. Well, Jack, he took that beautiful cheese and he put it on his head. And he started walking home, but you know, it was a beautiful sunny day, just like today. And you know what happened? The sun came down and it melted the cheese, and the cheese went in his hair. And when he got home, his mother saw, and she said, "You foolish boy, next time carry it in your hand." Well, the next morning, she kicked Jack out of the house. And Jack, he went and he worked in the kitchen of the big house. And all day long, he was washing the pans and he was looking after the cats that caught the rats in the kitchens. And at the end of the day, the cook was very pleased with Jack, and he gave Jack the biggest and strongest cat. And Jack remembered his mother's words. Next time, carry it in your hand. So Jack took that cat in his hands, but this was a rat-catching cat, not a pet cat. And the cat scratched and bit, and Jack let go, and the cat ran away. And Jack, when he got home, he told his mother, and she said, "You foolish boy! Next time, tie it with a piece of string and pull it home behind you." So the next morning, she kicked Jack out of the house, and Jack, he went and he worked for the butcher. And all day long, what did he have to do? Chop, 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 chopping the meat. And at the end of the day, the butcher gave Jack a big side of lamb. Jack remembered his mother's words. Next time, tie it with a piece of string and pull it home behind you. So Jack took a piece of string and he tied it round the meat, strong knot, and he pulled it home behind him. And you know, the streets were not clean. And when he got home, the meat was covered in dust and dirt. And he couldn't eat it. And his mother said, "You foolish boy! Next time, carry it across your shoulders." And the next morning, she kicked Jack out of the house. And Jack, he went and he worked with the merchant. And the merchant was a businessman, you know. Are there any businessmen here in the room? Put your hands up, businessmen. Come on, don't be shy. There are many businessmen here. And the businessmen, they were very important, you know. They rode on a very fine horse. Actually, it wasn't a businessman, it was a businesswoman. Thank you very much. And there's just one businesswoman in this room. Okay? And she rode on a very fine horse. But Jack rode behind on a donkey. And all day long they were doing business on one side of the city and the other side of the city, and they did a lot of good trade. And at the end of the day, the businesswoman, she was so pleased that she gave Jack the donkey. And Jack remembered his mother's words. Next time, carry it across your shoulder. Possible? No. Well, you know, Jack had been working very hard for a week now. Jack had grown into a strong young man. So he got down underneath that donkey. And he had that donkey on his shoulders. And he started walking. What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
The donkey and then the man collapses on the ground with the donkey has run away.
That's going to fall down?
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen? The donkey's going to get scared and run away. Donkeys don't want to be carried. Yeah, good. Or what else could happen? Yeah, what do you think?
Maybe we'll also fall down with the donkey.
The donkey will fall on top of Jack. Oh no! One more.
The donkey will kick Jack and the donkey will run away.
The donkey will kick Jack. Jack! You know, this is an English story. And in English stories, there are many stories about Jack. Jack is a fool, always a fool. But Jack works very hard. Jack does his best. And in the end, if you work hard and do your best, something good might happen. Yeah? So let's find out. So there he was, carrying the donkey through the street. And he walked past the house of a very important man. A rich and important man. In fact, this man was the king. And the king had a lot of power. He ruled over a vast empire. But he was not happy. Because he had a daughter, a princess. And this princess, in all her life, she had never laughed. And he said, whoever can make my daughter laugh, he will marry my daughter. Well, Jack was carrying the donkey, and the princess was looking out of the window, and she saw this fool carrying a donkey. And she looked, and she looked, and she started to feel... She felt something, like a wobbly feeling in her tummy, and a quivering on her lips. And she she laughed and she laughed. And the king heard his daughter laughing. Never before. He came running into the room. Why, my daughter? You're laughing, you're laughing. She couldn't speak. And the king looked out of the window and he said, young man, stop! And he took his daughter by the hand and they ran out into the street and he said, stop, stop, put that donkey down. You have made my daughter laugh and you will marry my daughter. Jack couldn't believe it. He said, I have to ask my mother. So together, the king and the princess and Jack, they went riding on the donkey all the way to the mother's house. And when she found out, she didn't call Jack a fool. She said, Jack, you are a good boy. Well done. And Jack married that princess and lived very happily. And then one day, he became the king. They all lived happily ever after. Thank you.